Hello and welcome to this new lesson in the order. And hopefully, you've been able to practice and implement what we covered in previous lessons. And if so, you're going to be well equipped to progress in the curriculum now. Okay. In the following lessons, I'm going to have to show you how to protect yourself. And before I do so, I need to give you some theoretical background on why that is even necessary. Okay, give you a broad overview and give you orientation. Okay, so let's begin with this. What is actually going on Earth? What is happening here? Okay, first of all, we live in a multidimensional reality, right? Earth has multiple dimensions to it. Now, the physical one is the one that we see all the time, right? And on another dimension, in a different density, this Earth is covered with a grid of energy, okay? So-called ley lines. These ley lines allow trans-dimensional portation, you could say. Okay, they're like energy portals. They're also what entities that are outside of physical density. Okay, that's what they use to transfer themselves throughout Earth. Okay, so they teleport and make trans-dimensional travels through that grid of energy. Okay, Earth is sort of like a blueprint. I'm sorry, boot camp. It's kind of like a boot camp. What does that mean? Different souls incarnate themselves in physical bodies here, and they grow through experience. Okay, your physical body will be chosen based on your level of development, you could say. What does that mean? The higher evolved the soul, more powerful the soul, the more it will look for a body that can allow it expressing its power. Okay. Now the goal of this whole game of physicality is to grow out of it, to master the physical world through understanding of what goes on in the other planes and mastering metaphysical laws, and then to be able to transcend all of that and to become immortal, to become a God form yourself. Now, this world is being governed, it's being ruled by, it is not money, it is not politics, it is not any of the things that you could point your finger at. It is secret societies that at their highest levels are in contact with extra dimensional, trans-dimensional beings. Okay? And that's been a secret for a very long time, and it's been the case for ever. Okay, ever. Now in the current consciousness wave, you could say, ancient Egypt is probably the first civilization that should be mentioned. Okay, the elites, the rulers, were sort of like chosen by these extra dimensional beings, and very few of those, very few representatives, the priests, the prophets, were given keys, and they were supposed to create then mystery schools where this knowledge was being transferred to people that were ready for it. Okay, and make no mistake, most people are not ready for knowledge like that. They will not get it. Okay, is that a problem? Not really. And ever since then, up to this day, or now it is changing slowly, but to this day, all of this knowledge has been very, very very, very secret. You know that the game that is played here on Earth is growth of consciousness and eventually growing out of this. Okay, growing even beyond the level of these masters in the shadows, which are extra-dimensional, interdimensional, extraterrestrial, whatever you want to call them. Okay, but as long as we're here, you have to understand that you live in a world that is governed and ruled by these entities. They have an agenda. They rule anything and everything from behind the scenes. They have their human servants, which you will consider the elite of our planet in politics, business, finance, show business, whatever. And any religion is essentially just a massive and megalomaniac ritual that feeds energy to these entities. Okay, you will find, for instance, in Islam, the Kaaba, right, which is located in Mecca, which is a location that any Muslim should travel to at least once in a lifetime, right? And there are certain rituals conducted around the stone, which is a representation of Saturn. It symbolizes Saturn, and Saturn is the satanic current. Okay, so in a similar fashion, Catholicism, Judaism, any other religion that is of any importance on this planet feeds energy to different egregores, different entities. And behind those, there are extra-dimensional, interdimensional entities. Besides all of that, this world, slightly beyond the physical senses, or slightly beyond the perception of the physical senses, is populated with different entities. Some of them are benevolent and they want to help us in our evolution. Some of them are vampiric, malevolent, and see us more like food. Okay, which also applies to the rulers of this planet. We are food to them. Well, I'm not, but the general population is. Let's put it that way. Okay, humans are considered food, and nothing but batteries. Now, what is the agenda that they have? What is the end game? Total and complete control and domination over human consciousness. That is essentially the agenda, and you might have already heard all of that. You know, the dark agenda of secret societies and what the Illuminati are really planning and doing. All of that is real. All of that is true. But understand that even that is a sideshow of the real game. Okay. Now you coming into this order and learning here, and eventually getting in contact with the nine, you know, and the messengers of an even higher order that contacted me and that initiated the founding of this order. You will free yourself from the limitations of existence altogether, and the goal will be to grow beyond all of that. It will take a while, and I know that's a big statement, but it is very possible. You just have to understand. Like I said, this world is ruled by dark occultists that rule, or rather are ruled themselves by extra-dimensional entities. And those see any being on this planet as food, as a food source. Etheric food, physical food even. Okay, there's the most horrible stuff that goes on when it comes to these circles. as you begin to develop your spiritual bodies, you will become more noticeable to entities from the other side because you will shine brighter. You will attract attention. And there's a specific group of entities whose sole job it is to scare individuals, to not go deeper into this, to not explore their own consciousness and soul. And this is where the bulk of negative experiences that people have with, making their first steps into the occult come from. Okay, there are entities whose sole job it is to scare people when it comes to opening up their senses. You see what I mean? Now, when we look at the initiatic systems of many Western schools, people were very well aware of that. Okay, and when I say Western schools, you can all trace them back to ancient Egypt, essentially. Okay. The student that begins to open up his senses and to explore the other side needs to be protected. Okay? Why? Because you can prevent them from taking advantage of you even as you gain more and more brightness on the other side. Okay? Understand that the game in more subtle realms is a game of energy. By knowing secret codes, meaning how to use symbols in combination with intention, you can begin to play this game. Let me repeat that. Symbols, which are the connection and representation of certain frequencies, ideas, connected with intention, allow you to manipulate energy, and with that, reality. I'm going to give you very soon a more detailed model of how reality actually comes into being. But for now, let's look at 3 levels of reality. Okay, we got the first and the highest level, which is the level of ideas. And we got the second level, which is a formative level of reality. And then we got physical reality, which is the result of the ones above. Okay. When we look at magic and sorcery, what we do is we tune into that etheric layer, which is the one above the physical. And this is the one that can be molded through concentration and through discipline. Okay. And as we manipulate that, we can make sure that something occurs in the physical. Any physical matter begins in a more subtle realm. Understand that. Okay? So you can expand your awareness into this more subtle realm, which is basically your pranic body, and through concentration, reshape it, protect it with symbols. Conjure up symbols through your imagination and reshape this pranic field that you have around you. And by doing that, you can protect yourself. There are certain symbols that shield you from negative entities and negative influences. Understand that 80 to 90% of people on a regular basis are influenced by negative entities. This is true. Absolutely real. Your chakras resonate at a specific frequency. Based on what frequency you're able to tune into, you will experience a certain reality that will sooner or later manifest physically. If they are clean, if they resonate at a healthy frequency, if they're spinning in the right direction, You will also resonate with beneficial beings, beings that are interested in your evolution, that want to help you, that want to protect you. If they're not healthy, if they're not working correctly, you will begin to resonate with um, negative entities. They will have access to your internal reality, and through that, cause you to do certain things, which is the case for most people. It is no wonder that there are things done by certain people that just are mind-boggling. Or I'm sure you've had experiences yourself where you could feel that that person was just not like was not themselves, you know. And the more you develop your senses, the clearer you will actually see that. You will see the energy taking over. You will see that people are influenced you know, and misled for the most part by negative entities. I'm sure you've heard of initiation rituals before. Okay? Specific initiation rituals, when you do them correctly, open yourself up. They open your chakras up to be able to resonate at a specific frequency, which makes you come into closer proximity and contact with specific types of entities. Okay? This is why different orders have different initiation rituals. Okay? I'm going to take you through initiation rituals of different initiatic systems of Hermeticism, basically Western magic. Not because I'm specifically fond of those orders, no, but if you explore or basically open yourself up to these energies, you will then later be able to use them. Okay? I hope that makes sense. Your consciousness will be expanded. You will begin to resonate with a specific sort of entity, and you will see how that affects your life. Okay? And of course, also how it affects you internally, but there's not really a difference between inside and outside, as you will also see. And at the same time, it will begin to give you control over your psychic self, over your sphere of influence, and it will protect you. Okay? And we will go through many of those initiation rituals of different orders. And it will just give you a great arsenal of things that you can use to protect yourself, to attune yourself to different energies. And later, after years and years of practice, none of that will be necessary anymore because you can tune into any energy. But for now, follow the curriculum. Follow the curriculum and you will sooner or later get there. Okay? Now, in the next lesson, you will get the full lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram with exact instructions on how to get into the right state of consciousness, how to mold the energies around you, because that's what you need to do, how to call upon the archangels, not all of them, but 4 of them, okay, and how to invoke the elements correctly, what the visualizations need to be, and a little bit about its history, okay? But before that, I'm going to have to introduce another model that's going to help you with understanding what you're doing. Even the model better that I want to introduce here comes from alchemy. Okay? When it comes to alchemy, we got beingness, we got soul or mind, and we got the physical world. Okay? Once again, we got spirit, we got soul or mind, and we got the physical world. Now, The mind inherently has the ability to think, to create form, and brings the physical world into existence. Okay? Now, alchemy is the science of how mind and then the images and other things conjured up by the mind relate to matter, okay? And how these things interact. This is a useful model for now, okay? So in your practice, always try to expand yourself beyond the level of mind, and then from that level, hold on to an intention. Mind will adjust, and as a result of that, your physical reality. Your thought process and the mind that you have right now, which is essentially your thought process, what you experience internally, the internal imagery, the emotions, even, all of that is part of your mind. Okay? Now, when you go beyond that, which can be done in a trance, and those of you who are on the unbounded mind, you already know what I'm talking about very well. And in this expanded state, hold on to an intention. Your mind will change, and based on that, your physical experience will change as well. Okay? Now, this isn't witchcraft yet, but it will help you understand how you have to approach rituals. Okay? Now, later, when you do the lesser banishing ritual, the pentagram, it is important that you expand your awareness. Okay? And then, as you are doing the physical movements, once again, I'm going to explain this all and show you as a ritual demonstration exactly how it's done. But as you do all of this stuff, your mind needs to stay elevated. It needs to stay expanded. And in this expanded state, you need to focus on what it is that you want to create etherically. Once it is created etherically, which is a frequency more subtle than the physical, but still quite dense, it serves as a blueprint of what will come into being physically, and the symbols that we will use are protective. They will protect you from negative entities. They will elevate your vibration, and you will get in contact with more beneficial beings. Okay? That's it for this week. Look into it, and believe me, we're going to go into depth with all of that. Okay? In this order, I will turn you into an expert on the occult, an expert on the Western initiatic system, the Illuminati, and everything that comes with that. Extraterrestrial contact. Believe me, I'm going to turn you into an expert. I'm going to give you everything that you need and more. But for now, go over this lesson and the previous lessons. Study them in depth. If you haven't applied what I went into in the beginning, do it now, and next week the practical stuff will begin. See you then.